Hey guys. So, as promised, this is going to be a video dedicated to Teemo. Unfortunately, I don't have my Teemo hat with me here at school, or else I would be wearing that right now. But I am going to be doing first a commentary of a game that I played yesterday, actually. And in this game, I played Teemo myself. And as it was a team builder game, I actually also ended up leaning against a Teemo. Let's begin, and I hope you really enjoy it. So I'm starting out the game, and the first things that I usually buy as Teemo would be the Doran ring, and I usually get one health potion and one mana potion, although that depends on who I'm up against. In this situation, I'm actually up against another Teemo, so it should be interesting to see how that works out. So, the first place that I will go is just into the jungle. And I'm just going to wait here for a little bit to make sure that no one attempts to steal the red buff. And the convenient thing about Teemo is that he actually turns invisible, as you guys probably know, after standing still for 2 seconds. And so if someone were to come, they wouldn't realize I was here until it was too late. So far, no one is coming. So I don't see the other Teemo yet. And there's a chance that he could be stealthed or could be in one of the bushes waiting for me. So I am very cautious at this stage. One of the things that playing Teemo has helped me with is last hitting, and you guys will probably notice that I still miss quite a few CS, especially when the enemy is in the lane. I tend to get very, nervous, and it makes me decrease in my farm performance. So I cleared the wave, and the other Teemo has appeared. He has the Super Teemo skin, which I would really like to get eventually. So there, I just missed a couple of CS. So at this point, he's kind of behind because I'm level 3 and he's only level 1. So I'm going to try to use that to my advantage, but also remember that anything that he can, or I can do, he can also do spell-wise, so I need to be careful. So at this point, I'm pushing the turret. I have the wave pushed all the way back. And Teemo does not appear to be around. He probably is stealth somewhere. My goal at this point is to deny him as much farm as possible, both by keeping the lane pushed up towards his turret, and also just by blinding him whenever he attempts to go in for a last hit. So I'm doing a little bit better at last hitting now, which is good. I still don't have very much farm for this point in the game, and that's just simply because I need more practice. But now I haven't been ganked yet at all, and as soon as I get my mushrooms, I am going to lay those down over by the river, which is one of my favorite places to put the mushrooms, just because it basically serves two purposes. First of all, if somebody comes, I will hear the sound of the mushroom exploding, and thus I'll be warned that way. And additionally, if someone steps on a mushroom as they're coming to gank the lane, they will suffer a bit of damage. So it might put me at better odds if they're at, say, 2/3 health rather than full health when they come. So at this point I am almost at level 6, which is the level where I will get my mushrooms. And I'm having a hard time again because the other Teemo has pushed the lane up, and it's making me difficult. It's making it difficult for me to get farm. So the first mushroom I usually place is in a location where, I try to put it somewhere where it doesn't get stepped on by the minions right away, but it's not the end of the world if it does. Especially late game in Teemo, you can actually clear whole waves very quickly if you have the Luden's Echo, which, by the way, is the first item that I'm planning to buy. After boots, of course. I'm almost kind of embarrassed for you guys to see my bad farming skills, I guess. So at this point, the enemy Teemo has also gotten to level 6. So he just put down a mushroom, and I'm basically just going to kind of take note of where I see him put the mushrooms. And you saw there, I just kind of dodged getting hit by that damage. I think being a Teemo player really helps you out. And I'd say this is true of any champion, but playing a champion helps you out when you're playing against that champion as well, because you understand the mechanics and you understand, I guess, better how to avoid falling into traps. So I've learned to notice where Teemos put their mushrooms, and then later, once I trade in my warding totem for a sweeping trinket, I will just go ahead and clear out all the mushrooms that I remember from the lane. So the Teemo just stealthed right now, and I'm also stealthed. I think he's hoping that I'll come and be caught off guard, but I know that he's stealthed, so I'm just gonna wait it out here for a minute. There he came out. So I'm doing pretty well with blinding. I think I've managed to prevent him from getting several CS, and he just went into that bush, which indicates to me that he probably put a mushroom in there. I'm going to try to kill off this minion before it steps on my mushroom. Unfortunately, I didn't get the last hit though. It's always a bit of a shame when I miss one of the big minions because it's worth so much gold, especially early game. It can really make a difference if you get all of those. lane is still a relatively new thing for me, so I'm just happy to have increased my farm by quite a bit from when I first started going in the top lane. I was just an embarrassment back then. So you guys should comment and tell me who you guys typically play in the top lane, because I'm always interested to hear. I'd say for the most part the popular ones I've noticed are like, I always see a fair number of Vladimirs. I don't know if that's just me, but, and then Nasus, Riven. I'm kind of blanking right now. I'm not really sure who else is a common top laner. Those are the ones that come to mind as of recently that I've noticed. So I'm going to get my first level boots, and also I'm going to buy the sweeping lens, since I now have mushrooms and can kind of use those as a ward. So I also had enough to get the one of the first parts of the Luden's Echo. I got the one that I believe it gives you, is it 60 AP or 80, I forget. It's significantly more than the blasting one, which is the other one. So at this point, and obviously I'm recording this after the fact, but at the time I was a bit upset because I wasn't sure why the Sejuani just came and pretty much stole my entire lane of farm. So I kind of yelled at her. But so here comes the Teemo, and Sejuani kind of faked and pretended like she was going to leave, but then she didn't. And I actually managed to get a kill from that kind of odd gank that just happened. I kind of had to put my foot in my mouth a little bit. So when the other laner is away, I always make the best effort possible to just kind of load up the area with mushrooms while they're not watching. Just because I think it's the best time to do it so that they don't go and like clear them or something. I was pinged to be careful, but I'm not really sure why. I'm guessing that she thought their jungler was up by my lane, but apparently not. Now, Vakram is coming to try to gank me, but you see he already stepped on 2 mushrooms, so kind of went poorly for him. I really wish I'd had another mushroom close to the turret so he would have stepped on it and died, but at least I was able to successfully avoid that gank with relative ease. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my summoner name, which is the Red Panda 999. And I came up with that name during my sophomore year of high school, or college, sorry. I haven't been playing for that long, but and the reason I chose that particular name was mostly just because I very much like pandas, and my like for pandas kind of started because it happens to be my sorority animal, so I started to I guess acquire a lot of like, stuff with our mascot, and then I saw pandas at the San Diego Zoo last summer, and I just really love them. I think they're really cute, and I actually have a ton of panda stuffed animals. There's actually one sitting right next to my chair. He's a brown panda. So as you guys can tell, nothing super eventful has happened in a couple of minutes. Basically just trying to acquire a farm. At this point I have 115 farm. And Sejuani's coming for another attempt at a gank, but fortunately we both just stepped on a mushroom, but still probably able to grab that kill. So and I let her take that farm. Didn't complain this time. I think as Teemo, it's nice to have a relatively tanky jungler. I think in general it's kind of nice to have a relatively tanky jungler, if you want my opinion, just because if they're relatively tanky, I think it's good for someone who's squishy like Teemo, because they're very resistant and they can go and hopefully they have some CC like the Sejuani little knock-up thing that she has, and then I can just kind of stand back a little way and just shoot whoever I'm leaning against, while the jungler kind of takes the brunt of the damage at close range. So I really like that. Best Teemo kind of ended up in a good situation. But so I only missed 1 CS, 2 CS I guess, there. But not as bad as I was doing. I'm sure I still have a lot of farm compared to this other Teemo. Okay, for some reason it looked like I had over 100 farm, but it looks like I actually only have 100 now, so I must have misread that. The little preview is kind of small on my screen, and it's kind of low quality, so it's a little bit hard to tell what the individual numbers say. I also have kind of bad vision, but I don't like to wear glasses because I have kind of a small head and they look very big on my face, so I usually have to get like children's glasses. But I probably should have pursued that, but I'm at kind of low mana, so I wasn't sure if I'd be able to secure the kill for myself. So at this point I have over 2,000 gold, and I'm going to use it to buy my loot and Zeka and start working on my second item, which actually used to be the first item that I would buy on Teemo, and is now the second, just because I actually would prefer to have damage over attack speed. But anyway, the item is Nashor's Tooth, and it's a very common item to get on Teemo, I'd say. I see most Teemos that I play with or against buying Nashor's Tooth. The other champion that I feel like I see that on a lot is actually Kale. Back when Kale was big, do you guys remember that? Before she was nerfed, you could get Nashor's Tooth on her and just be ridiculously powerful. I used to play her a little bit, both the support and a few times in the top lane. But so their turret only has a tiny bit of health. Well, it just got taken down, so I think I can officially say that I've won the lane, quote unquote, at this point. really know what to do at this point. I don't know where the Teemo is. I think I've cleared out most of his mushrooms that he left. So, at this point in the game, I usually head to another lane to try to maybe help someone for me. But I noticed that there seems to be something going on in the lower river area, which is probably started as someone trying to get dragon. The other Teemo doesn't seem to be anywhere to be found. And Zed's over there. He appears to be running away. Not really sure where he went, but I'm gonna try to head off this part. But he flashed over the wall. Not really sure why he didn't just use that spell where he could just go through the wall, but who knows. And I grabbed the kill. I think it was with my Luden's Echo damage, actually. And I know I went over kind of why I like Luden's Echo during my last video. And just to reiterate, one of my favorite things is just how just the passive that if you're a champion like Teemo, who's kind of running around a lot and also using spells quite a bit, you can charge up the passive quite often and then use it to do extra damage, which scales with your ability power, I believe. So just going to kind of try to put some mushrooms around in the river, since people seem to kind of be hanging out over there. But at this point I'm kind of low on mana, so I can't leave the lane now because Yasuo just left and there's 3 people here. So I'm letting them take, I let them take that turret just because there wasn't much I could do. I really hate that feeling of like being the only one trying to save a turret that's about to go down and then not being able to save it, I guess. So you guys just saw the damage that Luden's Echo did. That was, did a significant part of his health, so it was nice. Seems to be quite a few people that are low in health, which is kind of my favorite thing ever. I managed to get a kill off on Zed. That was nice. So, I think we might try to take this turret. I'm just gonna lay out some mushrooms. I've found that a good strategy for putting mushrooms down is to kind of think ahead a little bit and just think, if I had to escape in this situation, where would I want the mushrooms to be to make it so that they couldn't pursue me? And so I tend to sort of enter a fight from like the exit route, if that makes sense. So like the route that I'll probably be running, so like towards our side of the map. And then I just lay a trail of mushrooms all along, and that way, as I'm running back into our side of the jungle, if they try to pursue me, then they basically will just step on a ton of mushrooms and be slowed and also suffer a lot of damage. The triangle bush is always a good place to put mushrooms, I would say. Alright, there's 3 there. Kind of in a bad spot here. Just because I didn't want to get caught out when there was 3 of them. At this point I have barely any like armor and magic resist, so I'm pretty much building full damage, which is awesome, but also just kind of hard to work with if you get jumped on by somebody like Zed or something like that. I forget whether I get Sonya's hourglass in this game, but we've been over my struggles with Sonya's hourglass. So at this point in the game, I tend to like to kind of venture into their jungle a little bit and try to put some mushrooms down. It seems like the other Teemo's mushrooms don't do very much damage, so that's cool, I guess. And I have not very much health, but I still have enough mana that I could probably put down 1 or 2 more mushrooms. And I'll probably just end up going back to the base at this point, though. First, I'm going to go clear the film, or the farm film. I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes. But it looks like there's something going on bot lane, so kind of redirected. I'm kind of an awkward person in that I'm really bad at predicting, I guess, where I should be. So I often will kind of be the last one to a fight. So here, just running across a fight, and I got a double kill. But then I got hit with the Bard ult, which is actually amazingly very powerful. I don't know if you guys know about it, but it pretty much immobilizes whoever he puts it on. Like, it can work on turrets, it can work on really anything, and it just like freezes them for a couple of seconds, so it can help you if you want to get away or anything like that. I think it might also make them invulnerable though, so I don't think they can be killed while they're under assault. At least it's useful for getaways, like he just used it in that situation, or else I probably would have gotten a quadra kill off on them. Fun fact, I've actually never gotten a pentakill in the normal map. I've gotten a pentakill in ARAM before, and I think I've gotten a quadra kill in the normal Summoner's Rift classic gameplay mode, but I don't remember a time where I've ever gotten a quadra or a pentakill in the normal map. So here we see Hecarim, and I'm just gonna melt him right there, pretty much, and that was good because Lux got away. And Lux got that 3rd kill, which I kind of wish that I would have gotten a triple, but it's okay. So here's the other Teemo, and as you can see, if you look down at my Luden's Echo, it's charging up again quite quickly, which is good, because if anyone tries to come over this bush and steps on that mushroom, it'll do a lot of damage on them. So I was waiting to see if anyone would kind of come back, but no one did, so I'm just going to go top and get some farm. At this point, farming is like really easy. Although I miss the big minion. Of course, just when I say it's really easy, I miss one of the CS. I see that there are at least a couple heading mid, so I pinged help for the mid turret, but it looks like they're actually heading into the jungle to try to deal with, I think that's Sejuani and Ashe down there. Oh, and Yasuo. So I'm just gonna go and see if I can't help out. So there's farm, or not Braum, sorry, Bard. And just remembered that I actually use that kind of cool like tunnel thing too. So it's almost like a free flash through the wall. It's pretty awesome. I like it a lot. Looks like they managed to kill a hacker. So I put down a few mushrooms in their jungle. I think a common mistake I'd say of Teemo players is not putting down enough mushrooms. I'd say it's better to put down too many than too few for sure. Maybe a double kill here, maybe. Yes. I almost got a kill off on that Zed too, but he managed to squeak out with a little bit of health. At this point I've already reached level 16, which is cool. And unfortunately I don't have any more mana, so I can't put down any more mushrooms at this time, but that's okay because I already have one there and I can always go back. So it looks like the almost looks like there's 3 coming. I'm just gonna stick another mushroom down here in case someone decides to follow me. Even though I don't have any mana, I can still do quite a bit of damage with my E, which is part of what I like a lot about Teemo. You guys probably know about the fact that Teemo does several stacks of poison every time you hit someone with a basic attack, and that's actually the passive of its E, which is doesn't have an active, it just does passive. But yeah. So luckily Yasuo just got a triple kill, so that's awesome. And I like to check this bush in particular because I found that it always seems to be kind of a crossroads that people tend to walk through a lot. Not really sure why that is, but just find that a lot of people go to and fro through that bush as they're, going from their base to the dragon, etc. So sometimes I actually put a line of mushrooms like in that bush, and then a few like several steps away, so right after the effect of the first mushroom is worn off, then they'll hit a second one and be slowed and damaged again, and then I put another one right by the dragon, so if they come and try to get the dragon, by that point they have barely any health left. So now there's 3, and as you can see, the Luden's Echo is pretty effective. I don't know if they're going to be pursuing us just because of how much damage that basically did. Put down a couple more in case anyone is foolish enough to follow us. But as you can see, they did decide to come, and I got frozen by why do I keep saying Braum? Bard's ult. So that was a well landed arrow by Ash. Sorry if you guys hear background noise. Sometimes there's like cars and stuff going outside of my room. Occasionally trains too. So hopefully that's not too annoying to you guys. So at this point, I haven't talked really recently about my items, but at this point I have the Nashor's Tooth, my Luden's Echo, I have the Leandry's Torment, and I think that's a needlessly large rod that I bought there. But basically, I think at this point I wanted to get a Banshee's Veil just to make sure I don't get killed by the mushrooms of the other Teemo, and just to give myself a little bit of magic resist to make myself a little bit more durable in fights. So this is kind of something I'm trying out. I usually just buy straight damage on Teemo, but make him a little bit too, I think, just not durable enough. So killed that said, and I want legendary, so that's awesome. I guess I've been legendary for a little bit. So if you look at the map at this point, we're down to it looks like we have 8 turrets left, I think, and our inhibitors, of course, and they have 7 turrets, so only one less than us, or 6. So we're leading them in both kills and in turrets, so I expect that, well, I already know the outcome, but I expect that this will be a pretty easy win. Hopefully it won't take too much longer. So unfortunately our ADC went down, and it looks like they might be trying to do Dragon. I'm not sure. I guess they went away from it. Not really sure where they went. Oh, they're still there. So I might get a kill off on that Teemo, just by nature of the fact that he stepped on several of my mushrooms. But just wait until this guy goes, and definitely get a kill there. I really love being legendary. It doesn't happen to me very often because I play support so much. So it's kind of fun. I mean, carrying a game is always fun, I guess. I really do like the animation on the spells of that new locked skin. I'm a big fan of skins myself. As you noticed, here I have the Panda Teemo skin, which goes along with my summoner name, and I really want to get the Omega Squad Teemo skin, but it's kind of expensive, so I'm waiting until I've gotten paid, I guess. So, yeah, I don't own very many expensive skins, except for, I'd say, DJ Sona, which I might have mentioned was a gift. I didn't buy that one myself. I was super happy about that. My favorite gifts I got when I turned, actually no, that was not for my birthday. I think it was, yeah, it was around February, so it might have been for Valentine's Day. I think it came out like after Valentine's Day. I forget. I'm still working on the Banshee's Veil, and at this point I have 382 ability power, which actually isn't very high if you think about it, but it's high enough with the Luden's Echo damage that it's going to give my mushrooms a nice burst, and also I've gotten relatively good at kiting, so sort of staying away and just like shooting from a distance, and which is a really important thing to master for a marksman, and specifically a marksman who doesn't have that good of range, because you're usually not very durable, so you want to stay out of the end, like the heat of the battle, while still close enough to get in some spells and stuff. So. It looks like their team is coming mid, so they have 4 there now. And I think I got a kill from one of the mushrooms, maybe. So the ash-headed arrow, so that's perfect. Probably get a kill on the Braum, or the, it's like the 3rd time, Bard. going to try to get this turret right now, and possibly also the inhibitor. I hope we can get both. But I think it'll be possible since we killed so many of their team. And I'm just gonna put down as many mushrooms as I can in their base, so that if we have to run away like we're doing now, it won't be as big of a deal. And oh crap, I thought he was gonna jump on me, but he didn't. So hopefully if they try to pursue me, they'll step right on the mushroom, yes. I don't know if you guys have been having allergies recently. I definitely have a lot. Kind of unfortunate, but I guess such is life. So I think that was a pretty good flash on my part. I almost just kind of got hit by like 2 things at once, which would have been really bad. Just going to recall now, and I think I have enough maybe to finish that Banshee's Veil, possibly? Not yet. Okay. Almost though. I also already have my 2nd tier boots, and Mandra's Torment, which of course gives me a bit of health. I think I already mentioned that. That ash skin is pretty cool too. I'm a big fan of skins, if you haven't noticed. I just think they add a lot of personality to the game, and just kind of show what champion that you put your time into. And I also think it's a good way to support Riot, since they do so much for us. And I know how hard programming is. I've taken a lot of programming classes. This Ashe is just really, really good at shooting that big arrow. I feel like I've only played Ashe like a couple of times, but both times it was just like embarrassingly bad how off my arrows were. So people seem to have not learned yet that they can't really escape my poison. So at this point we might actually be able to end the game. Not sure, because there's only well, no, there's 4 of us, 5 of us over here, so we have a good shot. And just kind of gonna try to litter this area with as many mushrooms as possible. And hopefully if we're able to kill all of them off, we can actually get the base and win the game. So that would be really cool. Silver's coming, and Ashe killed her. Now we have 2 people. Oh wait, no, crap. So there's Bard. So you got it right there, Ty. He's the only one left, I guess. I'm the only one left on my team. And I'm just putting down, I guess, as many mushrooms as possible so that people will step on them as they're trying to farm. Slash, it'll help clear out their minions if they try to kill our super minions. So. Yep. And I can buy my Banshee's Veil. And with that, I got a death cap. So at this point, I actually have pretty much a full build, other than I would get the home guard boots if I had a bit more gold, but other than that, I have a full build, so this build is kind of like a decent amount of damage plus a decent amount of durability, which isn't something, like I said, I usually just go for damage, so it seems like this build has been enough, but then again, I also kind of snowballed. So there's that. I highly recommend that anyone who's playing against a Teemo, if it's any kind of a good Teemo, if you're playing against a good Teemo, you should definitely get the Banshee's Veil, just because it saves you a whole lot of grief, because it blocks a spell, basically. If you step on a mushroom, you won't take any damage, which is really nice. Especially if they're doing really well, like I am right now. And they're easily doing half of someone's health with one mushroom. So. I don't know if you guys hear that. My throat keeps making kind of strange noises. So I'm sorry about that. So there you go. That's the end of the game. Hey guys, so I hope that you were able to relax and maybe learn a thing or two about Teemo. Maybe you guys have some tips to share with me as well for how I could improve in the comment section. That would be really cool. So I just wanted to do a little update. The next video I want to do is going to be a just sort of a story time where I read Teemo's lore. Once again, I just hope that I was able to help you relax, and thank you for being patient with me and for all your wonderful support. So I'll see you guys next time.